everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Daily Distinction. I'm really glad you're here. Hope you had a terrific weekend. And as you may have seen, if you follow me on Facebook, holy cow, did we get some rain in Vegas? And I was out doing my morning walk this morning. And as I'm walking around, it started sprinkling. And then it started raining. So I only got a mile in before I got drenched. So it's been quite the weather weekend in Las Vegas, quite the weather Monday. And we have flash flood and severe storm warnings out for another 3 hours or so here today. So Brian, I hope the weather is good where you are. Happy Monday to you. Hey, Curtis, don't know where you are on the road, but hope things are good weather-wise for you. Thank you for being here. And by the way, we're going to be talking about today something I think is really important. It's one of the real challenges that all of us face, whatever your profession is, maybe particularly if you're an entrepreneur. It's one of those hidden challenges that even if we've attained a little bit of success or a degree of success, I shouldn't say a little bit, because many of you watching here, man, you've killed it. So, but it might be that one little gap that keeps you from being where you want to be. And we're going to talk about that and bat an idea around about that today in the new shorter version of Daily Distinction. And thank you so many of you for being here, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching virtually. By the way, Daily Distinction, if we had a sponsor, we would call that the Iconic Inner Circle. Please go check us out, iconicinnercircle.com. You can join today, and it's absolutely free for your first month. You can cancel anytime. So you get a month for free on me. All you need to do is to try it out. You can take our course on storytelling or on how to be better with virtual events and how to attain personal distinction. Look at our group of distinction sessions. It's all there for you on the Iconic Inner Circle. Love for you to take a look at that. That is why we are here with Daily Distinction. So thanks for being a part of that. Donovan, I understand it's hot with a side of hot. I was talking to my sister Shelly back in Indiana, and she was talking about there's like a heat dome over top, and that's what they're experiencing now. Jerry, hey, great to see you, and thank you for saying that. I truly appreciate that. Thank you for being a part of what we do here. So check out the Iconic Inner Circle. So today, you've achieved some success, and you're a pro. So what's the problem? I've heard it expressed that stress is really that gap between what we are and what we know we can be. Let me repeat that. Stress for us professionally is quite frequently that gap between where we are and where we know we can be. So much of what we talk about, much of what we do is how do we bridge that gap? How do we close that gap between our present and our potential? And I think for many of us, me included, this is something I've fought, and that's why I'm talking about it today, is that for many of us, one of the challenges is what I like to call permanent potential. I mean, people in your life, and I think many times if we look in the mirror, we see someone with this challenge, is that there's always more. There's always a bigger potential. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to think, no matter how old I am, no matter how much I've done, I want to think that there's something new. I mean, there's something better. There's something I can do. I mean, that's part of the reason I've noticed with my musician friends. They can have, the Oak Ridge Boys just released a new album. Just those four have been together, 50 years. It's the 40th anniversary of Elvira. And they just came out with an album of new music. Now, many would think, well, hey, you've done all this, man, sit back or why are you still touring? They still want to do new music. They still want to be on the road. They still want to make things happen. But for many of us, we want that. We still want to make things happen. But yet there's that gap between what we are and what we could be. And that is where that issue of permanent potential comes up. And here's where I'd suggest for most of us our problem lies. It's that we're pretty good at many things, which in fact means we don't focus on one thing. When I'm talking about my friends, the Oak Ridge Boys, they haven't tried to be movie stars. They haven't tried to be their own manager. They have concentrated on one thing, and that one thing is being the best quartet and performers they can possibly be. That's it. Nothing else matters to them. And that can create its own set of problems, right? You don't diversify your business, don't diversify your practice, don't diversify enough. I mean, it's a really fine line to walk. But I think we need to explore this, because just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it or that you need to do it. The problem for people who have many things that they are good at is they want to pursue as many things as they can. When I was a kid, I played drums, and I was in several bands back home in Southern Indiana. Even sat in a couple times with a guy that's older than I am, but he was playing school, and I was the kid in school, and he was, outside in college, all this kind of stuff. And that was John Mellencamp. Sat in a couple times with John, and my dad had a band that was a popular band in our part of Southern Indiana, Northern Kentucky. And we were playing a show one time where we were the opening act for a member of the Grand Ole Opry. He was well known at that time. He's a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, and his name is Jim Ed Brown. And so we were the opening act, and between, during intermission, when we were tearing down and they were setting up, he came over to me, and I was so thrilled to meet him, and put his arm around me and said, "I want you to go on the road with me as my drummer." That was a big turning point in my life. And it taught me one of the great lessons of my life, which is I had to decide, did I play drums or was I a drummer? To play drums would mean I could sit in with local bands, and I could play in my dad's band and play in other bands in the area and make some money on the weekend and have a good time being a musician. I could play drums. But the other side of the coin is, if I went with him, I had to be a drummer. And I realized that just because I could didn't mean I should. And as I look back now, I know I am so grateful that I made the decision that I made, that I didn't pursue that. Instead, I pursued this. And I am so grateful for that. When one of the things we talk about in the iconic inner circle is the 4 cornerstones of distinction. And the first cornerstone of distinction is clarity. And it really strikes me how many people talk about clarity and say they have clarity, but they really have a challenge with that, right? Hey, let me catch up here for a couple seconds because my friend Tim Gillette is here, who has such a fabulous live stream. If you're not watching Tim, you need to. He's got a fabulous live stream. I appreciate that, Tim. Thank you very much. Hey, Mary, how are you? Good to see you. And she's talking about Amberly, whose dad was the longtime keyboard player with the Oak Ridge Boys, Garland Kraft. And Garland was just, man, an incredible songwriter, incredible musician, incredible performer. Going narrow and deep with a niche versus wide and narrow, no specialty, right? I mean, Brian, I had that even happen again later in my career, where I was a mile wide and an inch deep in terms of topic. And that's why my speaking career at that time had permanent potential. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the importance of how do you get past that permanent potential, where there's a gap between who you are and where you you could end up. Well, the problem is there's a lot of places we can end up, right? There's a lot of places that we could go. I could have taken the drummer path. I could have taken the broadcasting path. I could have, and you have those same opportunities as well in different industries, maybe different pursuits, perhaps. But it's challenging and it's frustrating, and we have to get to clarity. And the important thing to remember about clarity when we're talking about it is it's knowing what you are, but it's also being willing to say what you are not. Clarity is not about just what you are. It's also being willing to say, I'm not pursuing this. I'm not doing that. So what we need to do is to focus on where we are and how we can make that better and not be chasing. There's a great scene in an old movie called Throw Mama from the Train. And Danny DeVito is riding with Billy Crystal and they're having a conversation. And all of a sudden, Danny DeVito goes, cows. There's a field of cows, right? Just from out of nowhere. And it's one of those that just kind of can almost pass you, miss you in the movie, but it's become a callback for some of my friends and me where, we'll be, cows. It's so easy to be distracted. And I think more so today than ever before because there's so many potential distractions. So what we have to do is to focus on clarity. That's the message of today. The way that we move beyond a permanent potential is to create reality through clarity. Clarity can make all the difference in the world. If you'd like some help with getting clear, that's what we're all about with the Iconic Inner Circle. So just go to iconicinnercircle.com. As I mentioned, first month's free. It's on me, and you can quit at any time. So you can do the whole program, what's available right now for free. Just go to iconicinnercircle.com. It's going to help you with clarity, and it's going to help you overcome the challenge of permanent potential that so many of us struggle with and so many of us face. So that is the message for today with the Iconic Inner Circle. Ron, thank you. That is so kind of you to say. I appreciate that. And clarity happens when you remove who you're not. You don't serve them. Yep, exactly. It's part of who we choose to serve. The other challenge with clarity is it's easy to do on paper. It's harder to deliver in person. By that, I mean, when you get the opportunity to do something like the drumming thing with me, it's easy to say we have clarity. It's quite something else than when you're presented with an opportunity to stay on focus. That's part of why groups like the Iconic Inner Circle and other groups are so important because they help you do that. So thanks, everybody. I really appreciate that. Hey, thanks, Jerry. I appreciate that. We've talked about that quite a bunch, haven't we, my friend? I appreciate that greatly. That's what we have to do. So, hey, whether you're watching live today on We Are Live every day, Monday through Friday on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, and new on LinkedIn Live. So whether you're watching live or whether you're watching a replay, please know how much I appreciate it. The other thing I would really, really, really appreciate is would you please share this on social media? We need to grow our audience, and the only way that we do that is if you share it with your followers and friends. That would really be great if you would take a moment and just share. As my buddy Ken Walls says, sharing is caring. So if you care, please share, and please join me again tomorrow. I'll look forward to that. We'll get together again the same time tomorrow right here on Daily Distinction. Have a great Monday. If you're out here in the Vegas area, stay dry. I don't get to say that very often. See you soon.